Hey, shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom at that. Yisrael. Settle Mitchell, back in another video. Been a bit. I came on, made a video in a little bit. You know, got plenty to upload. Just haven't made time to really upload them. But had a little bit of a situation with, I don't know whether I would call him a young man or whether I would call him maybe my peer or something like that. But as I began to just meditate on what had transpired, I began to think about just some of the older men that had been around as of late, that have came to visit, those that I've been associated with, the older men in the ministry. And I just began to just see a difference with some of our young men versus what I see in some of our old men. Now, we all know that, you know, not every old man is wise, or whatever the case may be. I know that in the Apocrypha, it talks about, you know, wisdom is the gray hair of the old men. And that, you know, you can fulfill a lot in a short time. You know, you could fulfill a long time in a short time. That's how it's put in wisdom of Solomon. But I'm sitting here thinking though, and you know, we have a lot of, what I do see is in older men. There's something to the wisdom of older men. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, I don't know if it was just upbringing. I don't know if it's just, you know, how they were brought up way back in the gap or whatever the case may be. But, you know, what I notice, even being a young elder in the ministry, is I tend to get a lot more honor from older men than even the younger men. You know, I remember early on it was the opposite, but it seems as more time has gone by, it just seems that, you know, from what I can see, you know, a lot of these older men, they could look out, they could hear how a young man speak, or they could see how a young man's moving, you know, and because of their years being in his life, having applied knowledge, you know, making mistakes, going through ups and downs throughout their lives, they're able to see that you're off. And sometimes it'll do good to take heed to what they're saying. I think right now in the ministry, you know, there's a lot of young men that just want to figure it out. They just want to figure it out on their own. They don't want to learn from the lessons of people that came before them. They don't want to learn from mistakes that they've heard other men make, or, you know, the idea is, man, Paul even says in the letters, man, that, you know, these things of old were done for our example. You know, not that we should continue in them, but what we have is, and this is something I've really noticed, you got brothers that need to pray on stuff before they talk to you. You know, you got a lot of people, they let the sun go down their anger. They leave a lot of issues unresolved. But one thing I've seen with older guys, older men, is that, man, they're going to come right at you. They ain't got time. They too old to deal with foolishness and unknowns. And then when you take somebody like myself, you know, young elder in the ministry, and I say young because, I mean, he ain't no 20-year-old elders running around. So, but anyway, I'd say, what was that with that? So what you'll see is, you'll see some people despise my youth, you know, but then you have an older gentleman or brother, man, whatever the case may be, he actually totally submitted. And so he'll have to actually go and show this young man where he's despising the youth. He'll have to go and show this young brother where he's off, where he's talking not the same, where he's not truly of one heart, one mind, one body, one spirit. But he's able to see that. And I've seen that in a few older guys, a few of them. I've had older men come to this community, and they'll literally ask me, what's up with this brother right here? Mind you, no words have been spoken whatsoever at all. There's something to the wisdom of old men. We just, You know, sometimes you have natural discernment. An old man has a lot of natural discernment, natural. So they could pick up on a lot of things. And he was just around this brother, is what he was. And he came to me later. Now, mind you, I've never told him about anything. I don't expound. Man, you too new for me to be just dropping stuff on you. So I like to allow people to come around and discern people for themselves. I don't warn people or nobody. I don't say anything. I just let people's fruit speak for itself. And this old man picked up on it quick. I'm just like, man, what's this brother's deal? And I'm just like, I just kind of, I don't know, maybe you ought to ask him. So, and like I said, old folks ain't got time for nonsense, mess, whatever the case may be. So, you know, he went forward. I don't know what he ended up doing, but the idea is, though, that young brother it'll do him well if he do take heed or listen to what the old man got to say. So, because there's a certain way that we should walk, there's a certain way that we should be able to honor the way we have things set up. Like in this ministry, say for instance, we have pastors, elders, you know, teachers, deacons, whatever, heads of fellowship, they're just brothers. You know, we should be able to fall under the order, and it shouldn't be much of an issue whatsoever at all. This is something that we all agreed to. Now, what I would hate, and I've told people this many times, you know, you heard Pastor mention, I think it was on Blog Talk or a video, or I don't know if it was a Patreon, I can't remember. But he said, it won't be too much more grace extended like it was to like Brother Rich. Now, what you have to understand is, you know, you got people in the inception of things. There's a lot of people that come in to the ministry. Let's say, for instance, when you got a group of people that first come together. As a leader, man, you don't know or you don't think that people are going to turn out a certain way. Hell, you don't even know how you're going to turn out. You don't know the levels of growth that you're going to have or the levels of decline others will have. You just don't know. You can't see that far off. But now we all have a barometer, and if you will, as time has went on, and I would say that every community is probably in somewhat of a situation like that, where you may suffer someone for a very long time. Why? Because they're in the inception of this thing. They're actually part of building this thing up. And you give grace and you give mercy and you give grace and you give mercy for a long time. Because, hey, man, this is like, you know, we did this together. We got this land together. We built this community together, whatever the case may be. You're part of what we're doing. Now I'm at a point where there's just certain things I just ain't going to accept from day one. So if a person ain't already here on the land, there's certain things, if I see, you can't come. Ain't no way. You will not be invited. It's impossible. Dishonor, disrespect, can't accept it. Can't, if you show a hint of it, can't accept it. Just whatsoever. If you show that your mind can't be fully engaged in what we're doing and you can't walk the same, can't do it. You know, I told a brother some time ago, I got an example. You're an example of what I will not accept anymore on this land. Meaning, I've dealt with you through your ups, through your downs, through your highs, through your lows, but I'm not going to deal with new brothers coming in that way. It's not. I'd rather just leave you out there and you could deal with yourself out there. You know, I'd rather you not live here and be bringing down the spirit here. And so this old man that came to visit, he picked up on a lot of this stuff. And I told him, I said, you know what? And I said, I'm going to give you. And I went ahead and I was pretty open and blunt with him. And I was just like, you know, and I pretty much gave a person as an example. And I said, if he looked like him, he can't come here. If he act like him, he can't come here. If he smell like him, he can't come here. If he talk like him, walk like him, speak like him, believe like him, think like him, all this stuff, that person can't come here. It's just simple. I'm not going to deal with the headache. Just not going to happen. So, but there's something to and so basically what I'm getting at is there's something to the wisdom of an old man, you know, to be able to go and import or pour into younger men or to be able to see things afar off, to have some type of foresight, to head things off at the pass, if you will, and go and point out to a younger man, hey man, you're off. Now, it's up to the young men to be able to hear and receive, but there's a lot of that going on right now where young men don't receive shit. Young men don't receive a damn thing. They don't receive nothing at all. They won't even consider. So that's one thing I do, is I consider. I just consider heavily what anybody has to say, because I just want to be right. But you got some, they're just totally made up in their minds before you even open your mouth. Even though you're coming to them in love, even though you are coming because you care, because you want to save them, you want to help show them another way, even if it's the right way. In their head, if they ain't came to it, they ain't doing it. If they ain't came to it, they ain't hearing you. If they ain't came to it, they ain't trying to be down with it. It just is what it is, man. So, but we got a lot of that, I see. We got a whole lot of that. They ain't came to it, they ain't just ain't gonna hear it, man. But there's something to just listening to wisdom and listening to people that have came before you, because, we all know the book, it talks about man that has traveled much knows much. Well, when you've been old, you've seen a lot. You've been a lot of places, and you gotta be able to discern when somebody's just for your good. So, I don't know. I could ramble on while I'm sitting here just meditating, but I think that's it for now. Bless y'all. Hopefully it wasn't too long. Blessings.